Okay, so today we are going to learn how to get locations in Android. Now, now basically, like see, I mean, once you have location coordinates in your hand, right, you can actually map that in any map. It can be Google Map, or it can be Naptech Map, or it can be any third-party map, right? You can just use these locations to map them, right? Or basically what happens, so let's take an example of Google Map, right? So if you want to implement your Google Map in your any of your apps, right, then there is a procedure that you have to get a key from Google Maps. You have to log in into Google Maps. You have to get a key. I mean, if you are working in a real time, right, you will be having a key for your actual app, right? So using that key, you can actually get the API. API is nothing but the DLL or some com.google namespace package, so to actually map into Google Maps, and those Google Maps, those app will actually work only on Android, because Google Maps is something which is already been installed in your Android, right? And it will actually interact with the native API, and that native API will always need anyways the locations. So here the main concern is how can we get locations in different ways. So there are two ways how you can actually get location coordinates, right? The first way is network provider, let's say, and second one is GPS, right? GPS provider, normally say GPS provider, right? Now this network is nothing but the network which you are using, right, for internet purpose. I can say network or internet provider, normally say internet, right? Now, so using this, right, how we normally get coordinates is based on the tower location, right?
You have to mute both of us.
Okay. So in case of network provider, right, how it internally works is it will actually take the tower location initially, because every time you actually move from one place to other, right, you will be getting signal. If you want to locate your standing location using a network provider, I'll show you both the ways how you can actually get the coordinates and how to get whether your provider is active or not, right? I'll show you the program. It is very simple. I'll be showing you a very simple example. Let's not complicate things, because network provider and GPS, two things are inbuilt in Android. We just have to get the APIs, actual APIs. We just have to know the actual API which we can use, right? Now here, in order to get the internet provider, right? So net provider, how it works internally is, so this all depends on the tower location. So based on the tower location, what it will do, it will actually fetch your distance between your the tower location and your the reach of signal, right? Based on the distance and the tower location, it will actually calculate the latitude and longitude, and it will actually give you the coordinates. That is how the network provider gives, right? And GPS actually, this will actually give you based on the satellite location. Actually, I mean, when you actually switch on your GPS, right? So what happens is it will actually get the actual based on the satellite coordinate location, right? It will actually get them. And GPS something which will if you switch on GPS for more time, right, it will actually eat up the whole battery life, because this is something which takes a maximum processing time to get the locations, right? But normally GPS is more accurate than network provider, because network provider will take relative distance and the coordinate calculations, right, with respect to the tower location, right? But both, for both things we have a common code, right? Only thing is which network provider do you want to use is the only option which you can actually change. It all depends on what type of app you are designing. But normally what we do is, if you are actually having, if you have some tracking option in your app, right, then normally you actually enable both the options. Either it can be network or GPS. Now, if it is GPS, right, you will go through some steps, right? But yes, you just have to select your GPS option. Most probably, what happens is when your network is on, right? So basically, if you first check network. Now, if your network is on, then it will first choose network option, and then if you switch on your GPS, then the provider will be reset to the GPS provider, right? So that is how it works. And getting the locations means getting the longitude and latitude. So these are the two things which we just need. If you know these, right, you can actually pass on these things. The combination of these two will never be same for different locations. It will never be same. That is the reason that, right, if you can map these things to any API, any map API, right, it will be mapped accordingly, and navigation inside the map will be automatic, right, once you actually give this, right. Now, so that is how we are going to map our things here. Now let me show you something here, and anyways, this may not work in your emulator now, because anyways, this will be standing around, right, and even if you move, right, obviously what happens is it may not get the actual magnitude equations, right. So if you can just deploy the same app in a mobile phone, and if you move here and there, right, so based on the your movement, we are going to create listener, right. I've just created a sample program. I'll just show you. Anyways, we have to expand the program anyways, right, and just show you how exactly it's going to work, right. Now, the first thing what we have to do in case of location detection is, so I just created a project called location. Now, first our thing what we have to do is we have to give the user permissions. This is something which is very important, right. Now, think that we are going to get both the permissions of accessing GPS and the internet, right. So for that we need three different access privileges which we have to get during the installation of app. The first one is access file location, right, and the course location. Now these two are something which normally get the coordinates of your standing location. Now this can be from your GPS or from your network location. And if you are actually using network, then obviously you need an internet permission. Now these three are added. Now these three you can see, if you can go to manifest file, now you will find it here, which are user permissions, right. Now anyways, these may collide with some other internet. Now as we have done in our previous classes, which is our web service, store consuming of my store, right. Now where we need an internet access, right, maybe you can just give internet once, you don't have to give multiple time permission, right. So one line of internet access permission will act for both, right. So that can be done. So if you have any multiple things, you don't have to define multiple times, you can just define once. That will do, right. So once you actually give all these user permission lines, right, tags, so whoever is installing these things, you can just try out this. So just take an APK of this location and try to deploy it in your mobile phone. So it will ask for these things. So then you will have to accept them. If you accept them, then which means you are actually giving permission directly to access your internet and the location APIs in your mobile phone. That is what you are giving, right? So with this, you will get a location tracking API access to your mobile phone. Now, so in the main activity, we just have two main classes. One is class and one is interface, which we have to actually track over here, right? So basically, maybe I can just take one class as such, right, which is the location manager. Now, location manager is the one which is a class provided in Android.location. You will get everything. All the tracking purpose will be using the same package, which is Android.location, in which we have a main class called location manager. Now, so this location manager is not the static class. The meaning why I'm actually talking about static is that so basically how we will be tracking is, so as you actually move on from place to place, right, you want your location manager to track the coordinates based on your movement and the actual place where you're actually standing on, right? So that is something which we need. Now for that reason we need something called location listener. Now either you can create a location listener to track them, or what you can do is in the same class you can just implement them, which is location listener. You can see I'm actually implementing the location listener here, right? And how does it locate the changes in this way? Now let me just show you what actually we have actually taken. Now the first thing is that you have to actually get the actual location manager. Now this location manager class I haven't instantiated it. So what we have to do, we have to get the local Android's location manager instance. Now how can I get? Again I'll be using the same class called system.service, which is Android activities service which we have, service method as such. Now in this system service I'm actually passing on the argument called context.location service, and this will actually give me the actual location manager instance, right? Now with this you are actually getting the instance of location manager. Now what we have to do is, if you have a location manager with you, then we have to attach with a location listener so that it can actually track the location. So for that we have an internal method of location manager called request location updates, right? So this request location updates will actually need a location listener event handler, right? Now here you can see it needs some, there are so many overloaded methods which we have in our request location updates, in which you can use any one of them if you know provider or not. Now here we are actually giving a provider here, right? You can see either you can give GPS provider, which will actually get the GPS, or you can also give something called network provider, right? Either of them you can give. So if you want, you can give either of them, or if you want, you can just restrict your app to yes, this app needs only network. There are so many apps, right? So if your network is on, it will work. Otherwise, it will just stay at the same place. Stay at the same area of pointing where it was at the last time when network was on, right? So in that way it works, right? And then these are something like minimum time. You can see it's minimum time and minimum distance, right? If you are actually using a network provider, right? If you are using a network provider, then you have to give what should be the minimum distance to be considered, right? Now let's say you are a kilometer, far from the network tower, right? Then maybe just say if it is below kilometer, just don't actually don't do the calculation. That's the reason why network provider will always give you the approximate location. But sometimes yes, it will give you the it may give you the exact location if you are standing within a half kilometer of a tower, right? But yes, I'm just saying 0 and 0. That doesn't matter. I have to calculate an exact time and exact location where you are actually standing, right? And it needs a place. It needs an activity where you actually want to track. I just gave this, or you can actually give the current applications context to. Now once you do this request location update site, immediately what it will do, it will actually try to get the class which is a location listener. As I just gave this, right, which means my current class is also a location listener, right? So for this location listener, there are 4 different overridden functions we have, right, which is location changed, provider disabled, provider enabled, and status changed. Right. Now these are the 4 different methods which we have in this location listener, and this location listener is being used in main activity, and this main activity I'm actually providing to the location manager request location updates, which means as soon as the location changes, right, my location listener event, which is location change, will be triggered automatically. Now here you can see I am actually calculating the longitude and latitude. You can see whenever you move here and there, right, you are already using location manager, which is an actual pointer which is pointing to the Android API. And whenever you move, which means you are actually moving the listener, and the event will be triggered, which will actually give you the location class object. Now in this location class object, you have two internal methods called get latitude and longitude. Now continuously as you move on, right, so these things will be changing. That's why if you just just create an instance of location manager and do this, and this is something which you are giving the current instance of location listener, and this will be tracked, right? So as you take your mobile and move here and there, your location coordinates, different location coordinates will be traced on automatically using through location manager, and it will actually show on a toast. That is what actually I have done here, which is this location object will track a latitude or longitude of the location. Now here you have few things which is provider disabled and provider enabled, right? Now let's say you have something called the current provider, which is, let's say, whatever provider you are actually giving to location manager, right, it will actually track those providers, right? Now let's say I'm going to take a boolean here, which is let's say LBLM provider enable status, right, is equal to, let's say, initially it is false. Now whenever it actually gets provider enable, I'll just make it true, and whenever it disabled, I'll just make it false, and based on the status of provider, I'll just check this, right? If it is true only, I want to get things, right? Now otherwise you can just say, you can just create a toast dot make text, just say provider disable, and just say enable, let's say, as you're using GPS, let's say you are going to do some GPS, enable GPS to work, right? Now this is how I can do in else part. Right, so this is how you can actually track your location changed based on this. Okay. Now you can use different things here, provide disabled or enabled in this way. Now what you can do is, as I said, let's say you are using the GPS provider initially, right? And what you can do initially, as it was GPS provider, right? And if you get disabled here, which means that GPS will be disabled. So immediately what you can do, you can actually change the location manager instance to maybe network provider, right? So what happens then the complete tracking will be done using network provider. So in this way you can actually go through different areas as such, right? So this is how you normally use the location provider. So normally what happens here is, like if your locations everything are fine, right, location tracking, then what you can do, now here I'm just taking a string over here just to make a toast, but this actually will give you a double value, right? And all the APIs, it can be map API or anything, right, which needs a compass mapping coordinates, right? They need latitude and longitude. Now once you give them, the pointing will be done automatically. Right. Now this is how you can actually take latitude and longitude, and this is how we normally measure the locations of any area where you actually stand. Okay. So this is about tracking, but anyways this will not work on here. I've just taken the same text location. So initially I just gave text location and it was hello world, that's why it is showing hello world. Now even if you run this, right, it may not work because the coordinates will not change. And there is one way that you can actually enable this. Let me show you. Let me try that in this emulator. So yeah, you can see it. So what you can do is you can just go to the other perspective. So in our perspectives, we have DDMS perspective here. Let's go there. Yes, we have this. Now here you can just go to emulator. Now you can see the decimals here. In your emulator control, right, you can just pass on the latitude and longitude. Click on send here. Now you can see provided disabled enable GPS. Something is the GPS is location set by GPS. You can see there is something being got, right. Now you can see location access because we are sending it through. It says GPS again. It's enabled Wi-Fi. Let me just check it on. Go back. Right. So let me just select this up once. So let me click on send. When I send, you can see here, right? No, sir. Actually, I'm just showing you something. You can change your coordinates here. Actually, now this is somewhere. Now somehow, if you want to change location, right, in emulator, this is how you can actually do. Right? Now here it says when I click on send, which means my location, I'm actually changing the location. That is what the meaning is. If I go back to Java perspective, now you can see, as I said, if you move your mobile phone, right, then your location tracker will be changed, right? Now, in order to get that feel, what I have done here is I'm actually going to the DDMS here, and you can actually pump the location manually, as I said. Now here maybe the current location is this, my current location, it will track up this, right? Now here when I send this, it says provided disabled, right? Because that is the reason why it is giving. So let us just enable them. Let me just go to Java. Let me just do one thing. So here, let me just make it true here. Let's say it's true. Let me run this again. For testing purpose, yes, you can actually use this one, but for real time, right? No, this you cannot use emulator to actually test your tracking. Location systems. So let me open that. Okay, so it has opened. So let's go back to the DDMS view here, and you have to select. So in DDMS, right, if you have more emulators, right, now you can see here I'm actually selecting this emulator and I'm sending this in. I'm actually pushing these coordinates to my emulator, right? Because I can't actually move this to track the location. If you click on send, now you can see, right, the latitude, longitude, whatever I'm setting here, right, I'm just sending. Then maybe 123 here, send, right? You can see. Now this is how you are going to get the things, right? So 122, let's say you are again moving, send, right? In order to just show you how it is going to work, right? Now you can see this is how it is going to work. And if you switch off your GPS or anything, immediately it will track up. I don't know where exactly location set the GPS. Let me just switch off the GPS here. Let's switch off this. Go back. Right. Let me click on send. You can see. No, it won't work. Click on send again. Because our GPS is switched off. By default, anyways, in your emulator, right, it will be switched on. Right. So now let me switch on this emulator. Go back to my app. Click on send. It works. Right. So this is how it works in our GPS systems. Now, if it is not working HASXP is, the working model is not, then you can actually switch to the network model itself, right? So this is how you can actually work with the the locations, how to get track of different things here. This is very important. Now you can apply your own logic here to change things, right? You can just go into this. Now whenever you feel that GPS provider is not on, you may go ahead with the creation of new instance of location manager with your network provider, right? Or vice versa. So in this way you can actually go ahead with this location.